Hello, friends, and welcome back. Today I'm going to share with you the fourth card in my little series using the Gerda Steiner Designs Hello Spring stamp set. And I thought it would be kind of fun to try to stretch out one stamp set to see how far I could get it to go. And so I've been using this stamp set for, like I said, this is the fourth card, but I kind of cheated just a little bit with this one, and I brought in sentiments from the Chicken Scratch stamp set, also by Gerda Steiner. But I really wanted to do this for a friend, and I thought that the sentiments would go much better for what I had in mind. So that is why I brought in this other stamp set for the sentiments. Now I'm just going to kind of go through and show you everything we're going to use. And this matte stack called Playful Pets has some really cute patterns in it, and I love the plaids and little polka dots, so I thought the colors were perfect, and so that is why I chose this particular matte stack. And so now I'll just kind of go through and show you everything else. We've got an A2 size top folding card base. Our panel here is just slightly smaller, and then I've got a white panel also slightly smaller for the middle. This wood grain pattern, I don't know what paper pack this came from because it was sitting in my loose stack, but any wood grain pattern that you've got, or even you could use this here if you have one of these embossing folders, you could also use that as well. And I did make a couple papers out of that just for some texture. Here, I thought I was going to use that, but I didn't. I like the texture instead. But this die here came from Simon Says Stamp. I think it was their February kit or one of their like Valentine's Day themed kits. And I thought it would be really perfect for this. So I'll show you where I got the idea from. But any square die that you have that's small enough to create these little square windows, you could probably use that instead. But here's the paper. It's just kind of sitting on my desk for a while. I hadn't used it for anything, and I started looking at it and I thought, how cute would this be if I could figure out how to make a little chicken coop out of this? So that is what we are going to do today. So I chose the wood grain paper because that's going to be the outside of my chicken coop. So I'm just going to run that through. And now I'm going to actually put together the card first because I need to kind of figure out size-wise how big this chicken coop is going to need to be so that it doesn't end up being bigger than my card, obviously my card base. So I also have this little chicken wire, which was done from some, that's like that metallic paper, and it was sitting in my stash from a card that I did a while back. Actually, it was the card that with the chicken scratch card that I made. So I thought I would incorporate that into this one as well. And kind of the reason why I chose to is because I wasn't really sure if my chicken coop was going to look like a chicken coop. So I figured the chicken wire plus the chickens plus the building should be able to figure out that it's a chicken coop. So now I've got most of my card base put together so I can figure out size-wise how big I need this piece to be. And now I'm just going to kind of speed it up a little bit because this is just me trying to figure out the roof and the trim along the bottom. So I kind of started thinking about when I was making it, like if you had a shed in the yard, which I do, it has trim on the bottom and a roof on the top. So I'm like, okay, we're going to put some trim on the bottom, and I'm going to use the brown paper and the white paper, and that's what I'm going to kind of make my trim pieces with. And then as I was putting the pieces down and connecting them, I noticed that having the roof kind of crooked made it look better. So I ended up going with doing kind of, because when I set it down like that, I'm like, hey, that looks pretty good. So that's why I decided to kind of tilt the roof a little bit. And then as you're creating your little projects here, you should probably just keep, as you see I do it, keep setting it up there and just make sure that you're not making your little house there bigger than your actual card base is. So just keep checking on your sizes. And then the crooked looked better. It does kind of look a little bit like an outhouse to me, but once I put the chicken wire on the back and then I prop everything up and put the chickens in, you can totally tell it's a chicken coop. So I'm going to attach these all to the background piece, and then I've got foam tape behind the front panel, and that just gives me that little bit of dimension so that I can place all of my pieces in between the back part and the windows. So I also thought, as I was kind of playing around with this, that it needed like some kind of hay or something inside of each one of the windows for them to sit in, and I don't really have anything that makes that, so I just used a it's a little grassy dye, and it's an Elizabeth Craft one that I had in my stash, and I did it out of like some kind of yellowish brown paper, and then I used just a little bit of tea dye distress ink on the edges just to kind of give it a little bit of color. And now the chicken coop is done. So now it's just a matter of figuring out where all of the little characters are going to go. But before I do that, I thought, you know what, I should probably do my sentiments, because I need to make sure that the sentiments that I had chosen for this card are going to fit. So, and I didn't want to have to move my chickens after I'd already put them in there. So here's my sentiments. I've got the hey and then the just chicken in, my friend, and those I'm going to place on before I start placing my little characters on there. That way everything's going to fit just fine. I think I like it being kind of cattywampus, so that's why I chose that way, just to kind of give it a little bit of interest. And now I'm going to place my chicken coop right in the middle, which I need to pop up either one of the top and the bottom, because that piece in the middle has some dimension to it. So you want to make sure everything lies flat. So I'm going to put on my grass at the bottom, and then I'm going to add my sentiments right onto the top. And then I can just place my little characters around wherever I think they're going to look the best. And that is pretty much it. This was a super fun card to make, and I think it came out super cute. And the person that I have in mind to send it to, since we're kind of all stuck not being able to see our friends and hang out and have a good time, I thought it would be kind of fun to just make this card to send to one of my friends. I actually have a couple of cards that I've made for people, and I've been sending them out. And I think it just makes, just makes everybody kind of happy and makes it a little less dreary sitting around at home waiting to be able to see people again. So, yeah, I hope you guys like this card, and I hope it gives you a few ideas on ways that you can take your same stamp set and use it a whole bunch of different ways, kind of stretch your supplies a little bit, use up some stuff from your stash that maybe has been sitting in a pile for a while, like my little chicken wire back there. Some of the other things that I did do was I made sure that I had cut that grass in the back from that same paper pack so that the greens were the same. And I felt like it needed just a little bit of something along the back behind the chicken coop, which is why I did that. And then I'm just going to put all the flowers back there just to kind of give it a little bit more scenery. And I only attached the grass right at the very bottom so that I could stuff the flowers behind everything. And that is pretty much it. That is the end of the card. Don't think it needs anything else. No sparkle, no bling, no nothing. I think it's perfect just the way it is. And actually the rest of the sentiments on that stamp set is let's get together soon, which is going to go on the inside, and then the back is going to say PS, this card was made from scratch, because those are also sentiment sets on that chicken scratch stamp set, which I love. Here's a few close-ups. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. I really do appreciate it, and I hope to see you again real soon with another video, hopefully by the end of the week. Have a great week. Bye-bye.